Football, it's good to have you back. Hall of Fame game on Thursday night featured a second-half comeback by the Browns. 14 unanswered points in the second half, led by Israel Abanikanda on the New York rushing side. On the Cleveland side, it was Dorian Thompson-Robinson staging that comeback, 8 of 11 for 82 yards and a touchdown. Cleveland coming away winners as they were underdogs heading into this one. That's a ticket, as is the over. Let's get into it with CBS Sports NFL analyst, forever a Jet, our guy Lige Douzable. Deuce, first and foremost, it is always great to see you. It's always great to see some football. And we're always trying to learn something. Here in the preseason, these coaching staffs, they're trying to whittle down rosters. They're dealing in data points. What did you feel you learned about either one of these teams on Thursday night?
Yeah, I mean that you're only as good as your depth on offense and defense and special team. And a lot of these young players made some pivotal mistakes in this game, but I would like to highlight some players that actually did really well. You talked about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I felt like he was the best player on the field. It looks like he was just back at UCLA is how comfortable he was in this offense moves. I mean, this guy was 8 for 11, 82 yards, accurate from in the pocket. We know he's a mobile quarterback, but I was more impressed on him throwing the ball within the pocket. You see this crossing pattern right here, him staring down the rush, being able to make that big throw. I believe that was on a 2nd and 15 to get it to 3rd and 1 right there. And then look at the grit right here on his zone read play, blocking for his running back to spring him in the end zone. A nice throw right there to Watkins for a touchdown. Dorian Thompson-Robinson played his tail off today. And we saw a little growth from the other quarterback on the other side, Zach Wilson. Some of the things that concern me with him the last 2 years. Could he do the simple things, right? We know he's flashy. He can get outside the pocket, make the off-platform throws, throw with the side arm angle, but staying in the pocket. On that big throw down the sideline to Malik Taylor, he looked off the safety and was able to throw that 9 route and hit Malik Taylor in stride for an explosive run and catch after he threw the ball. So those were some of the things that I watched in this game. Again, too many mistakes, too many penalties, but that is what's going to happen when a lot of 3rd and 4th stringers are playing.
Yeah, to be expected this early in the season. Zach Wilson, as you mentioned there, not hoping to be in this situation at this juncture of his career, but what better learning crucible than that next to the formerly known number 12, now number 8. We'll get to him in just a moment here. But from the player perspective, Dudes, we got guys that are trying to make rosters. We got guys on the sideline in T-shirts, iced out, watching the game. What about those guys in the in-between? What are they trying to accomplish on a night like this?
Yeah, you're talking about those fringe players that are on the roster bubble. And what they're trying to accomplish is to show their current team or any other 31 other teams in the NFL that they belong in the NFL, right? Opportunities come few and far between. So when you get an opportunity, you got to go out there and make a play. Chaz Surratt is a guy that comes to mind. The linebacker for the New York Jets had an interception in this game, really showed his coverage speed, and then also showing that he can come downhill and make some plays in the run game. He showed really well. You want to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. I know a lot of people scoff at the Hall of Fame game because it's an extra game, and a lot of the main characters don't play in that game. But there's guys on the fringe of that roster. This game means everything to them because as the preseason goes on, Moose, they're not going to get as many opportunities to play because you got to get your frontline players ready for the NFL season. So when these guys get opportunities, you're going to see them laid out on the line. That's why you saw it in this game in the 4th quarter. Guys still laying the wood, guys still playing with extreme effort because they don't know how many more opportunities they're going to get.
Yeah, they were popping pads, making plays until that final whistle. Let's talk Rodgers here for a moment, Deuce. We did not see him on field, obviously, here in the Hall of Fame game. That's not to say we will not see him in the preseason. What do you think the best strategy moving forward is? I mean, the man hasn't played preseason football since 2018. That was Mike McCarthy's Packers. So it's been a minute. He did say on Tuesday he's not opposed to the idea of playing in the preseason. Maybe you circle that preseason finale against the Giants. That's coming August 26th. Are there value in those reps for a guy with this sort of experience, Deuce?
Moose, I don't believe we'll see Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
You just stated it, right? We haven't seen him play preseason since 2018. And the good thing for the Jets, right, they have cross practices against the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Bucks. And those are like preseason games, essentially, Moose, because we know that when you're playing a team in another color, the intensity ratchets it up, right? There's a little bit more intensity, right? The game speed comes into play, right? Because nobody knows with that opponent across from them what type of game speed they're playing at. So you better make sure that you're playing at your top game speed or you will get embarrassed out there. So it's a good thing for Rodgers and his team that a lot of starters will get to go against the Carolina Panthers defense. They're going to get to go against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Those are essentially like preseason games. And if you look at how the NFL has changed over the last couple of years, more teams are doing these cross practices and not putting their top players in harm's way when it comes to the preseason game. I believe Aaron Rodgers will get good work next week versus the Carolina Panthers, the following week against the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then they'll get him ready for the season. I don't believe we'll see number 8 out there on the field during the preseason.
Yeah, far more controllable atmosphere in those split squad practices. Dudes, before we let you go here, it's a phrase that gets thrown around all preseason, put it on tape. I know you're familiar with it. I need you to put it on tape right now. I'm going to ask you, what constitutes success this season for the New York Jets?
Anything short of the Super Bowl, I would say, doesn't constitute success. Now, again, you got to look at the whole realm of this. I believe the Jets haven't been to the playoffs in 12 years right now. In the 4 major sports, I believe it's the longest active streak for a team not going to the playoffs. So some would say a deep playoff run. If they do that, then that's a successful season. But you trade for a 4-time MVP to win the Super Bowl. Let's not forget, this is a top 5 defense. It was the number 4 ranked defense in football last year. And with Zach Wilson, they were still in playoff contention in week 16 and 17. They lost 6 games, Moose, by 1 score or less. So just imagine if they had adequate quarterback play, they most likely win 10, 11, 12 games, and they could have been competing for the AFC East crown. So that's why I say the Jets need to win a Super Bowl for this to be a success. You traded for a 4-time MVP, and that's why you traded for him.
I got Deuce laying out his clothes like it's the first night of school, and he's thinking Vegas. Deuce, we'll talk to you soon. Be well.
You too, Moose.
All right, here's a look at the remaining preseason schedule on both sides of this first matchup. The Hall of Fame game now in the books. The Jets, they'll get Carolina, Tampa Bay, and New York. You talked about some of those inter-squad practices as well. Our guy Lige Douzable breaking it all down. The Browns, they're looking at Washington, Philly, and rounding it out with KC Saturday, August 26th.